Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Jalal Ahmad, and in this tutorial we are going to learn about the 3D transformation properties of CSS3. In last tutorial we learned about only two properties in the case of 2D transformation, that were transform and the transform origin. In this tutorial, in addition to these two properties, we will be learning about some other four properties as well. So starting with the transform property, which can take these possible values, and the transform origin can take these possible values. Similarly, all are mentioned with their possible values. So starting with the transform, I will show you the source code of my HTML page. That is, I have taken only a div inside the body. Body is the parent of this div element, and inside this div there is an h1 tag written as heading. So I made this div as margin top equal to 150 pixels. From the top it has a distance of 150 pixels and displayed as inline block so that it can be centered in the body. So it has a width of 150 pixels and a height of 150 pixels. Background is equal to blue, and let me show you. This is view of my source code. So let me show you first of all the transform property. So first of all, I can use the rotate 3D, but let me first show you that rotate 3D is the combination of three values. That is rotate x, and it takes degree value. It rotates the element and takes a degree. Let me show you. You can see it is rotating from its x-axis. From its x-axis it is rotating in such a way that, let me show you it in here. We can be best noticing it here. If I increase this degree, you can see from its x-axis it is rotating. Now the back face is in the front, and now the front face comes into the front. So this is about the x, and now this is about the y. If I use the y as 0 degree, and let me increase, so it is now from its y axis, it is now rotating from the center of its y axis. So this is about the y axis and z axis. That is, let me make it as 0. It is rotating now from its center. The axis of rotation is now on the center of y and x, axis. So this was about the rotate x, y, z, and now I will show you the rotate 3D. It takes four values, that is x, y, z, and the mentioned degree. So first of all, I will give it a x, y, and z, and the degree of rotation. So if I increase x, so you can see changes. If I increase the y, you can see the changes. If I increase this one, so according to this degree, it is increasing and decreasing its x, y, and z directions. Okay, now moving towards this was about the rotate x, y, z and rotate 3D. Now we will learn about the scale. Let me show you. We learn about this one, and now the translate 3D property. The translate 3D property is also a combination of three values, that is x, y, and z. First of all, I will show you the translate x. Let me show you. I will write here a pixel value, that is 30 pixels. The positive value means that 30 pixels towards the right. Let me show you. You cannot notice it in now 0 pixels, so that it can be on its original position. Now 40 pixels to the right, you can see. Similarly, if I write minus, so it will move towards left. Okay, now I write here the y value, and it's now the particular position, the default position. And if I write 100, so you can see positive value makes it to the bottom, and if I write minus 100, it will go up on y axis. Similarly z, but okay, now if I write the positive 100 or anything, you will not notice the change. So this is because we are rendering 2D elements and applying 3D properties, so it is not, we are not able to see the changes. So let me first tell you the z x-axis and y-axis are known, but z-axis, x-axis is from left to right and right to left, and y-axis is from top to bottom and bottom to top, and the x-axis tells us about the depth. So since these are the 2D elements and we are applying the 3D properties, so we are not able to see the changes of z direction. Let me apply the translate 3D, and you will see it will take, let me x 100 pixels x, and 100 pixels as y, sorry, 100 pixels as y, and 100 pixels as z. So you can see from here it moved towards the right side on x-axis 100 pixels, and then 100 pixels on the y-axis to bottom, towards bottom, and 100 pixels which we are not able to see the changes about is the z-axis. So this was about the translate 3D, and let me refresh so that we can have it on its own position. Remove this one and we will move forward. Save, refresh, and now this one, now it's a turn of scale 3D. So sorry, scale 3D. The scale 3D is also a combination of 3 values, that is x, y, and z. Let me first show you scale x. So if I write it will not be a unit holder value, it will be a value without unit, and we will only write a number in here. This 3 means that the original width of the div, that is 150 pixels, is multiplied by this number. So 3 times the width, 3 times the original width of that element. Let me show you. We will be increasing its width as 3 times, starting from its center. You can see that. Okay, if I write nothing and write here the y value, nothing, and write here the 2, so it will now increase 2 times its original height starting from its center. You can see that now it's it has a width height of 300 pixels, that is original height is 150 pixels and it is multiplied by 2, so the original height becomes 300 pixels. Okay, now the z, and we will not be able to notice those changes about the z, about the depth, about the z direction, because same is the reason as about the translate z value. Okay, now I will mix all these and write the 3D and write the 2 times the width, 2 times the height, and 2 times the z perspective. the depth, the z direction. Let me show you. Refresh and you can see width and height are increasing equally. So this was about the scale 3D, and now moving towards the perspective. Sorry. Okay, now the perspective property, the perspective value. Okay, this takes pixels inside. Let me write as 200 pixels, and along with this I will apply a change. I will apply a 3D value, that is rotate X I would like to apply, and let me write as 40 degree. Let me refresh and you can see this 200 pixels is far away from the user. So perspective, what perspective does is that it puts an element from it puts an element on a specific length from the viewer. That is, if I decrease this to 100 pixels, it is now getting nearer, and if I decrease it to 80 pixels, it is now more near to the user. And I would recommend to use 200 up to 200 pixels to notice these changes. Otherwise the changes will not be noticeable. It will be changing, but you will not be able to notice those changes clearly. Okay, this was about the perspective. And the matrix 3D, the last one. Okay, this one is a combination of 16 values, and it is the most complex about CSS3. The matrix 3D is the most complex value about transform of CSS3. So I will provide a separate tutorial on this matrix 3D, where we will be able to learn about matrix 3D only and very well. So this was about the transform. Now we are going towards the transform origin, which is taking three types of values, that is percentage, and length, and another length, and sides. Okay, let me first tell you the transform origin means that from where the transformation effect is starting. So if I write rotate X, not rotate X, if I write the translate, but I would like to scale X, and would like here to mention it as double. Let me comment it. Okay, now remove the comments, and here you will be able to see by default it is increasing from its center. But if I write here the transform origin and write here as left, so you will be able to see that it is increasing from its left side. Similarly, if I write here the rotate Z value and write here the 30 degree, and I write here the 0 degree. Let me show you something, and write here, don't write something in here right now. Let me refresh and show you in here. I will increase this degree, so now by default it is rotating from its center. The X and Y value are both having the center value. So if I write here the zero degree and comes towards the code, and write here if I want to move rotate it from right and bottom. Now let me show you. I refresh and I mentioned this point, right bottom side, so it will now be rotating from this point. Let me increase this degree. You can see the transformation origin is now the right bottom point. So also you can give here the xy value in pixels or in percentage, and the y value can also be given in pixels and percentage values as well. So this was about the second property, that is the transform origin. And now let's move towards back face visibility. Sorry, every time I press the Ctrl S button. Okay, we refresh. This is the original point where our div is placed, the back face visibility. Now the back face visibility, let me show you the back face visibility does its back face visibility. Okay, it is by default as visible. It is taking this value which is by default, and we will apply hidden to see what it does if it is hidden. So let me first tell you that when we rotate our element, when we rotate our this div and it rotates completely, and its front face goes behind the scene and its back face comes into the front, so it is visible by default. Let me show you, as if I write as here x and increase the value, let me increase, so you will be able to see now the front face goes behind and the back face is coming on the front. So this is the back face. You can see heading has now been on the back, is looking from its back side. So if I write here back face as hidden, let me show you. Now I refresh and write here the x and increase it. Now it's the front face, it goes behind and nothing is looking at the screen because we have hidden our back face, and now it will appear. So you can see the front face is now appearing on the screen. Okay, this was about the back face visibility. Okay, we are done up to here. Now the perspective, another perspective property. Okay, let me refresh, come to the code, source code, and okay guys, the perspective. So let me first tell you that perspective property, we learned about the perspective function which we applied in front of this transform value in here, and this is now another perspective property which we will be applying on the parent of that element on which we want to apply the perspective property. So we want to apply the perspective property on this div. So the parent of this div is body, so I will apply this into here and will write here Sam is the case as up to 200 pixels values, and this element I would like to transform, that is, let me write the x or y. Okay, and write the 40 degree, so 200 pixels. Now the parent element here is taking this value, and the child element where we want to apply this perspective is transformed. Let me save and refresh, and you will see perspective as perspective. So you can see 200 pixels perspective. If I decrease the perspective value, where is the parent, that is perspective, and I would like to decrease, so you can see it is coming nearer to the viewer, and if I increase, it is going away from the viewer. So that's about the perspective. We are now done up to here. Now the perspective origin. About the perspective origin, let me tell you that you will use the perspective origin along with perspective property. It is by default the center, and it is just like the transform origin, where you can apply the x and y values and either write here the left or not left as, let me write here the center, if I write here the right and center, let me, so the right and the center is the perspective origin point, from where the perspective effect is getting started. So you can similarly you can also apply here the values in percentage or in pixels, and similarly in y point you can also apply the percentage and x and the pixels values as well. So this was about the perspective origin, and now come towards the last property. Let me refresh, and this is our days. Now the last property is the transform style, which takes the flat and preserve 3D values. Flat is by default, and we will apply this one to see the changes. But let me tell you that transform style means that this property specifies how nested elements are rendered in 3D space. So let me show you that what does this mean. Okay guys, so let me remove this style. First of all, I will get some nested elements here, blue, and inside blue I will take another child, that is, let me make it as red. Inside red, let me take another child as yellow. Let me write as here red, and let me write here as yellow. So I have copied and will paste here the style, that is blue. The parent of red is having the height of 200 pixels and width of 200 pixels, and a margin that is from around all the sides is 100 pixels. A padding inside is 10 pixels, and the background is blue. Similarly, the parent of yellow, the child of blue, is having a padding inside of 70 pixels from all the sides, and the background as red. Let me first comment out these lines, and that's about the red. And the yellow, the child of red class, that is padding inside the yellow is 40 pixels, position is absolute. I made the position absolute, and the background color I made is as yellow. So transform rotate is now not needed. Let me first show you that what we have created. This is our point. Okay, I will rotate the yellow and will apply the transform style on its parent, and will show you how preserve 3D property works in this point. Okay guys, let me rotate the yellow div from its y-axis. So you can see yellow is rotating from its y-axis, but it looks as 2D. If I write here Okay, I am rotating. Let me write here the default value. I am rotating the red, but it is taking yellow along with itself because it is the child. Yellow is the child of red, and red is rotating. So that's why it is rotating yellow along with it. If I let me make it as 30 pixels, it's fine, and I write here the preserve 3D. Let me show you. You can see we have rotated the yellow div from its y-axis, and it is not clearly visible here. Let me show you the yellow class. I will increase. I am rotating now the yellow class, that is the yellow div is now rotating, but it is giving a look of 3D space, and it's the credit goes to the property that is transform style equal to preserve 3D. So it is the red class is now preserving the 3D style. So that was about this tutorial about the 3D transformation properties, and hope you guys have learned something with this tutorial. If you like this tutorial, please hit like button and leave your comments about the tutorial. I could do up to here and shared my knowledge with you. Thanks for now.